Samsung's next foldable might finally be the moment people say, okay, that's enough. Before we jump in, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. It really helps me keep bringing you more tech breakdowns like this one. Because according to new reports, the upcoming Galaxy Z Fold 8 could cross the $2,300 to $2,400 price range in the US for the 512GB version. And if you want the 1TB model, you might be looking at something close to $2,700 for a phone, not a laptop, not a gaming setup, a phone that still folds down the middle. That's what makes this story so important. Foldables were already expensive, but Samsung has managed to stay ahead because it was basically the only company pushing the category into the mainstream globally. People accepted the high price because foldables felt futuristic. But there's a limit to how much consumers are willing to pay, especially when yearly upgrades are becoming smaller and smaller. The Galaxy Z Fold series has always lived in premium territory, but this year feels different. It feels like Samsung is getting dangerously close to pricing even loyal fans out of the market. The new report from South Korea claims the Galaxy Z Fold 8 could exceed 3 million Korean won for the 512GB model. And while direct currency conversions don't always tell the full story, Samsung usually prices its devices more aggressively in its home market. So if it's getting that expensive there, the US price could realistically land between $2,300 and $2,400. And honestly, that changes the conversation completely. At that point, the Fold 8 isn't just competing against regular flagship phones anymore. It starts competing against premium laptops, tablets, and even entire ecosystems of devices. People begin asking whether folding screens are actually worth spending that much extra money on. What makes it harder to justify is that the upgrades we're expecting don't sound revolutionary. Yes, the Fold 8 will probably get performance improvements, maybe camera refinements, a thinner design, and some AI-focused features, but nothing we've heard so far suggests a dramatic leap forward that suddenly makes a $2,400 foldable feel reasonable. And Samsung seems fully aware that costs are rising everywhere. According to reports, camera modules are now around 15% more expensive than last year. Smartphone chipsets have increased by roughly 12%, and memory prices apparently jumped by over 100%, which is huge. So, from Samsung's perspective, the math probably makes sense. Components cost more, manufacturing foldables is expensive, and maintaining profit margins gets harder every year. But from a customer perspective, none of that changes the final question: is this phone worth the price? Because consumers don't buy based on Samsung's supply chain problems. They buy based on value. And right now, value is becoming a serious problem for foldables. What's even interesting is that Samsung recently increased prices on existing devices too. The Galaxy Z Fold 7's top-tier variant quietly climbed to nearly $2,500 in some markets, despite being the exact same hardware. That's where frustration starts building. People can accept price increases for major innovation, but when the product barely changes and the price still goes up, it creates fatigue. And this doesn't only affect the Fold lineup. The Galaxy Z Flip series is now surrounded by uncertainty too. The report briefly mentioned that both upcoming foldables could cross the same pricing barrier, although that seems unrealistic for the Flip 8. The current Z Flip 7 already saw a price jump recently, but nowhere near Fold territory. Still, another rumor makes the situation more complicated. The Galaxy Z Flip 8 could reportedly be the last flip model for the foreseeable future. If that rumor turns out to be true, it raises even more questions. Why would consumers invest heavily into a lineup that may not even continue long-term? Foldable buyers already worry about durability, repair costs, and long-term support. Uncertainty around the product line itself doesn't help. And honestly, Samsung might be approaching a turning point with foldables in general. For years, the company had momentum because foldables represented innovation. Owning one felt special. But eventually, every new category reaches the phase where buyers stop asking, "Wow, can it fold?" and start asking, "What am I actually getting for this price?" That's the phase Samsung is entering now, especially because traditional flagship phones have become incredibly good already. Devices like the Galaxy S Ultra series, iPhones, and even Chinese flagship phones offer amazing cameras, strong battery life, premium designs, and advanced AI features for significantly less money. Foldables need to offer something more than novelty if prices keep climbing. And personally, I think this is the real risk for Samsung. Not that the Fold 8 will fail technically, but that people simply stop feeling excited enough to justify the cost. When a phone starts approaching $2,500 or even $2,700, expectations become almost impossible to meet. At some point, consumers want more than incremental upgrades and thinner bezels. They want a breakthrough. Because if Samsung keeps raising prices while offering only modest improvements, the Galaxy Z Fold 8 could become the device that finally forces the foldable market to slow down and rethink where it's heading next. What's your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments section. See you in the next video. Take care.